Get ready for a wheelbarrow of crafting goodness! Welcome back to Creatures, Caverns, and Crafting. Today, guys, I have a pleasant surprise. Dennis over at Crash's Game Table contacted me on Instagram, and he and I kind of discussed some ideas about miniatures and mutants, and we kind of came up with a really cool idea of a mental mutant, like a big brain mutant. Dennis was really great. Printed this off for me, sent it to me. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm actually unpacking it now. As you can see, he packages up very nicely. I'm very excited to see what's inside. Let's go ahead and open this up. Look at this, guys. This is not only one, but two miniatures. And this guy looks awesome just inside the Ziploc wrapper. We also have some stands here as well. Or excuse me, bases. Let's see what this other guy looks like. This is really cool, guys. He's inside of a shopping cart. We kind of talked about maybe putting him in some sort of cart or maybe like a stroller or something. And of course, another base. These bases are awesome, by the way. Almost the same size. I think a little bit bigger than a standard 28mm base, which is great. Let me just get a standard base and show you a comparison. So the real cool thing about this is Dennis has actually uploaded the files on Thingiverse, which I'll make available to you as well in the comments on this video. Please download it, paint it, send it to us. Let us see what you come up with. I'm sure we're all going to have a good time. And I'm going to paint this up today for you guys as well. So I'm going to add a little bit more character to the card. And to do this, I'm just using this screening wire. I'm going to cut it off into some smaller bits. Use some super glue to put that on the cart. Now the sides are flat and there's nothing wrong with that. I just think of it as an invitation to add a little bit more, to be more creative to it. So have at it. You can add more or keep it the same. So first off, we're going to go ahead and give everything a zenithal highlight, and that's just where we go over it with a black primer and then go over it with some white. What we're doing is just mimicking where the light would hit the miniature. And now we're going to just go ahead and apply some Bugman Glow. I'm going to go and use some acrylic thinner on this. Remember, we want the paint to be thin. We can always apply several coats if we need to build up to it. Just don't got this on. So we'll go ahead and do that now. As you see, some of the white and the black is bleeding through, and that's the desired effect. We want that to happen. Now we're just going to work that all over the head, maybe get those little hands, make sure we get the face, and now we're going to allow that to dry, and we're going to also apply a thin coat of Cadian flesh tone. Next, we're going to create a glaze, and to do this, we're just going to use a little bit of matte medium, some water, and for my color, I'm going to use a Gene Stiller purple. We're just going to mix this all together. We don't have to create a bunch of it. And we're just going to apply this all over the flesh portions, especially here on the head. This is going to create a nice Venus look. You'll see this is not a wash. Once it dries, it's going to look very different from a wash. So once our glaze is dried, we're going to go ahead and start creating some veins. And to do this, I'm using a very small tip brush. I'm just going to take some blue and just start stretching it out. Now, don't get too nervous about this. If you keep this kind of thin and you make a mistake, no harm, no foul. You can even remove it with some water or paint over it. So now that we're done with our veins, we can also add an additional glaze. Remember, that's going to dry transparent and it'll kind of mute the veins. We're also going to go and add some crusted sword there to the bumps on the head, and that's just going to add another tone to it. And again, we're going to apply that as a glaze as well. We're going to go over the robes with the linen, and next we're going to go ahead and start painting the shopping cart. So if you guys are a fan of my channel, you've seen my rust effects before. All I'm going to do is take some natural sienna and burnt sienna, mix that with a matte varnish. We'll apply that to the cart and allow it to dry. Here's just some photos of the miniature. I've allowed all the glazes to dry. Also went over there and just added the eyeball effect. All that is just a little bit of black. We'll allow that to dry and add some white dots to it. Also, we're going to go over the robes with a Agreste Earthshade. And some bonus content, guys. I'm going to show you how I made a base. And first of all, we're going to start with a foam sheet, and we're just going to apply a nice size base to it. We're going to cut this out, and we're just going to start creating some cracks. I like to take a pencil or pen and just kind of draw this out. Now, if you mess up, don't worry about it. Some of this is going to get covered later on when we apply some more effects to it. We're also going to cut into this using a X-Acto knife. So just kind of trace this out. This is just to kind of get an idea of what we want to go for. Now we're going to use some Mod Podge and stick everything together. Now when you do this, keep the Mod Podge thin. We don't want to fill in those cracks that we just created, so add some water to it. This is the fun part for me. I'm going to take some corkboard and glue it to the foam sheet. I'm also going to take some Martian iron earth and some Vallejo earth texture. What we're going to do is we're just going to start scooping this out and adding it to the base. Let's see here, we'll go ahead and open this up. I like to use a tool for this application. You can use an old brush if you want to. It's just, to me, you're able to kind of goop this out much easier and work with it. So we're just going to, let me close that bottle. I'm just going to kind of smear this all over like so. Now we don't want to cover up all the work that we did earlier, so we're just going to hit this outer edge. Make sure we get in all those gaps on the cork board. And this does look messy, guys, believe me, it is, but it's going to look really cool when it comes together. We're also going to add some of that earth texture as well. So I wanted to add a little extra to this base. So this is a fence from a Hearst mold. I used this on a previous project. We're simply just going to glue this to the base. I'm also going to allow that iron earth and earth texture to dry very well. We're going to prime everything using a skull primer from Army Painter. And now we're just taking some burnt umber ink. Now I added a little flow aid to this so it'll go into the crevices easier. If you don't have that, you might just thin it out using some water. Once our ink is nice and dry, we're going to do a dry brush. I'm going to use this makeup brush, and we're just going to apply some latte, I believe. Yep, latte. And you can go lighter if you want to. If you want to add some white to it, you're more than welcome to do it. You can also use some other browns or tans if you like. So my secret weapon for bases is Pigments. I just lightly dust the entire base. You can buy some adhesives that will glue it down. I just apply it dry and blow off the excess. It always works for me. I've never had a problem with that. We're also going to add some tufts and some rocks just for flocking. We'll go ahead and paint that fencing using the same rust techniques and glue our miniature down to the base.